Welcome, Deviant Drivers, to another and our first episode of this season for A Drink with a Driver. We got our drinks. What do you got? I know you always got something special. Ooh, dad juice.
Yeah, don't
I'm
go anywhere past that.
I'm afraid to
Leave
ask
that
where that came from.
leave that alone. But a friend of ours made us a mason jar concoction of cinnamon and dried blood oranges and yeah, spiced orange bourbon infusion kit. It's been infusing for about 4 weeks now. So
Hmm. Is
just
it
popped her
good?
open. You know what? I don't know yet. Let's try it out. Yeah. I mean, it's got bourbon in it, so why wouldn't it be good? Can't go
Okay.
wrong with bourbon.
Well, it's a relief
So
at least.
happy 2024.
Yes.
Welcome into
Well,
the new year.
yeah, it's starting out well.
For some, uh, not for everyone. You want to just go ahead and jump right into that, or you want to pause for a moment? Time out.
No, let's just hit it right now. So we'll go ahead and talk about GT3. So let's hit the leaderboard right off the top and
Yep.
rip into it. So first round was Daytona. It's everybody's favorite, or not everybody's, maybe not yours. I think. I like it. I didn't like it this time for reasons of which we'll talk about, but um, yeah. So Victor walks away with our victory. Congratulations, Victor. 20 points. Job well done. And followed up by you, even though you were on a controller with still bad leg. So,
No, I was on the wheel.
oh, you're on a wheel.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well
It
done.
was a little painful, but I was on the wheel. Yeah, it messed up a couple of my turns just because I couldn't apply the full brake. Like for most of the race, it was fine, but there were some turns where I just could not apply enough, or it was like I applied and then immediately lifted off because it hurt, and then I would start going a little too far. But yeah, it was all right.
The
I
doctor,
couldn't.
the doctor's like, did your progress has gotten significantly worse over the weekend? Did you do something? And you're like, no,
What do I talk about?
what are we talk
No,
about? I've been
sim
resting and
racing.
icing. Followed wrapping
Yeah.
up podium was Nismo. Congratulations, Nismo, on a podium victory.
Hmm.
There
His
at
first one,
Daytona.
I believe.
I think so. I believe you're right.
Yeah.
I believe you're right. So yeah, and on the GT4 side, when we bounce over to GT4's leaderboard, we look at that. Dirksey, surprise, surprise, won pretty well handedly. I think he was pretty dominant that race. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about a specific team that was awful dominant during the GT4 race. Followed up by Cam Zilla, who took 16 points as well as fastest lap. And Huge Jar, whose jars just keep getting bigger.
Yes. He's got some big jars.
His jars know no limit.
Yeah, no, they don't. No, he's doing consistent. He's good. I'm excited to see what he's going to do the rest of the season. But we won't talk about that team yet. Just let
Okay.
that kind of slide.
All
So,
right. And obviously, our top three are over the promotion line for GT4 so far, which is still an early season. We got, what, 7 races to go.
hmm.
So we got a long road to go. There's a lot of races coming, a lot of different tracks. But as it stands right now, those top three are above the promotion line. So congratulations to those folks, and keep up the job well done. I hope your car is as strong as, well, maybe I don't wish it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being nice, but uh, maybe we'll see for the rest of the season at the other tracks. So
And then there's the other line too,
there
the
is another
relegation
line.
or a demotion line. There was a big topic about it a few weeks ago and what we should call it. We went relegation because it seems nice and proper that you're getting demoted down. But go ahead. Who's yeah. So
Oh, you want me to
you're under
talk about it? Okay.
you're under that line.
Uh, yeah, you noticed. Perfect.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, I am at the top of the not promotion line,
Yeah.
the relegation line as we call it.
Yeah.
So I'm the best of the worst, I guess.
Well, it's because the other two didn't finish the race.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
I did notice, to Texas' demise, he bumped you a lot during the race, and maybe that influenced his car malfunction. All the times that he rammed you getting down the track because of how slow you were. So maybe you're at fault for some of that. Zanchin didn't make it. He let Boat drive for him, which we were all so thankful for. Boat driving. God.
And he got the best car of the bunch. I mean, Boat had every advantage going into this thing. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that car drives like it's on rails.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what kind of rails, but
I don't know.
rails nonetheless. Yeah, that was a rough go for him. Yeah, I followed behind him for quite a while.
Yeah, well, um, yeah, I am 12th with a massive 2 points,
Mm,
and
yes.
I didn't have a good race. Let's just put it
No,
that way.
let's just start there. I mean, because here's let me paint the scene. So I have Silo, who lives with me currently. He used to live up in Baltimore. He wanted to change. I told him like, "Hey, I got an extra room. You want to try Greenville out?" He moves in, blah blah blah, right? And so he's in my rig is in his room because he's moved into my game room, so my rig is still up there. Anyway, so he's got comms on testing and practicing with the GR4 guys who are watching your stream. And then all I hear is like this boisterous laughter and what the fuck, and just like going nuts. And I look over and he's like, Merc ran out of gas. And then you come over the comms, just go around, I'm out of gas. And I didn't hear him because I had my headset on. But then like I moved it and he's like, dude, they're watching the stream. He just ran out of fuel. They're giving him so much crap right now. His team is pissed, like all sorts of stuff. So I'm hearing all of this color commentary while you're doing your thing, and I'm not realizing what's going on until because I didn't know who ran out of fuel. I heard it come across, but I didn't realize. And then you were just like, go around. And then I saw it was you, and I was like, oh, dang it, that sucks, man. And we've been there. I've run out of fuel. Zen's run out of fuel. Bad Rock's run out of fuel. Anatol's run out of fuel. So it happens to the best of us, and it's to be expected when you're driving a new car for a new season, except for
Yeah. So here's what happened.
you go
So
you go ahead. You've driven that car before,
I
is
have.
what I was alluding to.
I think we were all picking up what you're putting down. So yes, I have.
Cheers to being part of the club.
So yes, I did, and when we got through the lap, and it was I believe it probably was the stint of just drafting, and I was at a higher RPM, higher speed. I didn't account for, and it was enough to just eat up that fuel because the calculations and everything were within accurate, of where they should have been, and obviously they were accurate, because I made it through that and I had an amount. I think it was zero point 0.3 or maybe zero point 0.4 at the line, which I knew was a little bit close, but I figured short shifting and going up in fuel on a safety car lap, I didn't need to push it on the safety car. I could have really, I did. I pretty coasted it, and I
Yeah.
said that ought to be enough to get around. I was wrong. And as soon as I came up on the high banks out of the road course in the middle, the car just quit. And I said, "Oh, God, it's terrible." So I
And
said,
it's
but
like a parade too. Like
yeah,
if you run out of fuel during a full speed race, very few people actually see it, watch it happen. But it was like a parade as you were on display, and we all just drove by as you just limped along. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why our safety car lap is 60 to 70, because if we made it 50, you would have been able to maintain your speed within rules and no consequence, which,
yep.
so,
So yes, so yes, so some that might ask that question, why we chose that, that is the answer, and obviously, as everybody in the entire league and now probably the entire internet and YouTube land is aware, if you join a deviant racing league, this is how it's handled when you run out of gas under safety car. So yes, and I was out, and so I made it as best I could. I said, go around, it's fine. I started seeing the cars go around. I was like, I'm gonna end up at the back. It's fine, whatever.
yeah,
So I go around and I'm like, everybody's going into pits. I'm losing a little bit of time, but I was like, I still got a lap to catch up when I come out. I was like, I'm gonna come out at the tail end. I was second or third, I think, when it happened, somewhere around there. I was towards the top, which I knew I already was going to lose a lot of positions because people had pitted before the safety car lap. And so I was like, I've already prepared to lose those. I'll lose a few, but it's not a big deal.
yeah,
And then I come around through what NASCAR would call turns 3 and 4. I get, you know, pitch and wedge distance from the pit entry, and boom, I get reset back to the last sector line, all the way
hmm,
before back coming out of the bus stop.
yep,
And I was still going 50. And I said, this is it. I'm going to get lapped under pit
yeah,
because you guys are still coming at 70. I'm driving 50 and I've still got a pit. I didn't get
yeah,
lapped, but um, there was no catching up. And that was the end. I closed the gap to 9 seconds on whoever. Well, it was Bad Rock.
Bad
I
Rock.
closed on Bad Rock to 9 seconds at the finish. So I closed a 1.5 minute gap to 9 seconds. But
Damn, just jabbing right in the back. Why don't you?
well, I didn't have traffic to deal with, and that was what I was before it reset me. I said this actually could work a little bit to my advantage if I'm smart about this because
Right.
these guys are going to be in traffic trying to get up to speed. I'm already going to be at speed, and my tires will be hot because I've done a hot lap already. So,
Yeah.
and then it reset me, and I said, "Well, there goes that." So,
Yeah. No, I had, when you said it reset you, I went back and looked at it, and because you went onto the apron, rode the apron the whole way, as soon as you hit that official pit, it bounced you back. Cheater, cheater, cheater.
who knew? Who knew following the rules of racing would violate PD's rules of
Yeah.
racing?
I mean, but you have to look at the game itself. Is it really racing?
The
Is it a
developers?
game? Yeah. So nonetheless, you've now been officially brought into our group. We have our sessions on Thursday nights at 6:15 p.m. to kind of just talk about it, get it out of your system, because it hurts. It hurts, especially when
Yeah,
you watch Besso blow by you with no fuel. So
yeah. So
that sucks. That
it
sucks.
does.
But now that that's out of the way, uh, we know what to do for next time. Prepare accordingly, and watch your rev limiter. We had a little discussion internally within our team about fuel and how it's calculated, and chaotic of being more analytical than I am, and similar to you talking about getting down to the percentages that are used every single lap, where especially after uh, Catalunya, I err on the side of caution now, but I don't get down to the percentages. I can't race within those parameters. Don't I don't want to be restricted. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I race down to the lap essentially instead of the percentage used in fuel. and he and I both see differently on that, which is cool. Everyone can do that. But, things like that, like you said, happen where there's so little wiggle room, especially when you get into those high speeds. Because there was times you were hitting 173 with techs bumping you, which obviously was bouncing your revs up. So yeah, I mean, live and learn, live and learn.
And the
But
same thing when you're drafting somebody else and bumping them. I mean, there was a lot
mhm,
of bump drafting going on.
yep, I will say since that race is over, um, I kept my fuel map up front,
Mhm.
and as soon as I was in someone's slipstream, I bumped it up to 3 and shifted to 6th, and I was still able to maintain the distance unless I wanted to bump someone into where we wanted to go as far as higher top end. But as soon as I got into someone's slipstream that I knew I was grabbed, um, I bumped it up. So that's where I got my fuel saving. Was in the slipstream.
There's a top tip for you guys.
Do 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 do. Dude, that was a fun race. I'm not a huge fan of Daytona. You won at Daytona last season.
Hmm.
Well, not last season, but the last time we raced it in the Corvette. Um, you won, and then Zen won the time before. But I enjoyed the race. I really did. First and foremost, it's been so long since I actually raced with you guys. You know, so
Yeah, it felt like a
besides
while for everybody. I
yeah,
mean,
besides the holiday race, which the multi-class race was fun. I will say that the multi-class was fun, but the legitimate racing. I mean, I didn't make it to Spa. So whatever the track was before that was my last race. So I mean, it plus the holidays, so like it's been a while. So just getting into it, like, was fun, and it took a while to get in the group. I mean, I qualified 6th. I dropped back to like 7th and 8th over the course of the beginning of the race. New car, hard tires, um, just trying to get used to it. But I just it was fun. I enjoyed just like driving with other drivers. I ran behind Glovis for a while. I ran behind Nismo for a while. I ran behind Boat for a while and just tagged along. That was my goal.
Daytona is a fun track. It does burn a lot of fuel, and cars that are not fuel efficient, that it does take its toll on those cars because you spend such a long amount of time at wide open throttle for
Yeah.
a large majority of the track. So it does have its disadvantages, so to speak, from
Yeah.
a fuel mileage perspective. But you know,
The bus stop pissed me off. I'm
why?
usually pretty well, I'm usually pretty good of knowing track limits and being consistent within those track limits. Like I don't even push to those track limits. I always, again, have a cushion. And the first 3 laps, I picked up half-second penalties going through the bus stop. Same line as what I did during practice of keeping 2 sets in the yellow the entire time and cutting through the grass. You could touch the grass with your outside tires as long as you kept 2 in the yellow. And I felt like I was doing that the first 3 laps, but I picked up a penalty every single time. So then I got real conservative and like really made sure I stayed in the yellow with all 4 tires, no longer getting penalties, slowed me down. And then I started creeping back out, kind of find that boundary mid race, which aggravated me. But dude, lost so much time
The bus stop
with
was
picking up those penalties.
it was while yes, did give a lot of penalties in the bus stop as it always does. It was generally pretty. It seemed like I mean they gave a pretty liberal amount you could cut that corner.
No, now, yes, I
Yeah.
agree. I
This
definitely
time.
agree because it used to be, yeah, it used to be you couldn't get outside the white line and you were screwed. So all the yellow was off, everything. That was way too much. I just, I even, I even recorded a video of the proper line going through the bus stop for our team, and because I'd seen it in the dailies, what everyone was driving in the daily races on how much you could cut. I practiced it, showed everything, and then when I did the first 3, it was like boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a rough day. This is gonna be a rough day. But
It's the nerves. It's the pressure of race day. It changes things.
I still want to go back and watch it though, because I still do not know where I crossed the track limits. So I don't know. We'll see. But nonetheless, it was an enjoyable race. It was good to see what the car was capable of, being in the Lexus. Lexus has got a lot of oversteer. She's loosey goosey. But if you can put it down, she's got some speed to it. Top end, no. Top
Well,
end is
I don't know if I can agree with you on that because speaking about teams numbers,
we're
it
not going
looks
there yet. We're not going there yet. Got to
yeah.
go GT4 first. Got to go GT4 first.
Yeah, let's
But
talk about GT. So you took second for Team Lexus. So you scored point position 2 for Team Lexus. And going over to GT4,
hmm
so looks like GT4 has a lot of Lexus in the top 3. 1 and 3, Dirksey and Huge Jar. So Lexus, I think everybody knows where this is going with the team points. Uh, but Lexus took first and third in GT4 and second in GT3.
we had a
So
good showing.
yes. So at the
Good
speed,
showing.
at the track where top speed is probably most important, maybe
hmm
you did well.
Hey, and and for the guys that I bumped, they know I was on their ass and I stayed there. I didn't pass anybody until they messed up. And even towards the end of the race, I was going to ride Nismo's shirt tails until the finish line. I wasn't even going to try to pass him. Didn't matter what position because the car did not have horsepower to get around anybody.
Mm.
It did not. So I was just going to push and draft whoever I could. I stayed in someone's slipstream almost every single lap. Nismo screwed up in the infield, and it'd be a waste of time to pull off and wait for him to get in front of me. So I went around him, get onto the straight, not drafting anybody, and then it clicks. It's Nismo, then Zen. Same team, 4 GTs, and I'm like, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. I even muted the mic and told Silo, I was like, dude, I'm done. I've got teammates behind me in the fastest car on this track. And either I don't know what happened because I can't go back and look at it, but uh, I was able to hold it off, thankfully. I couldn't catch Vic. I would catch him on the infield. You could see the times just dropping about a half a second to 3/4 of a second, and then he get on the straight and say la vie. So, but that was my strategy, was to stay behind someone at all times, regardless of position, just to get that top speed. And I rode Boat's wake as much as I possibly could. That was the only way. Because again, I mean, I don't know. Do you know what your top end was? Ours was 162 during that race.
Yeah, I mean, unassisted. I mean, it was. I believe it was right at mid 160s, 165, 160
Yeah.
somewhere in that
The
range.
other guys were running like 171s,
Yeah, there was a few 171.
169. I mean, and the Super gets there so much quicker than the Lexus. So I mean, again, that was my strategy. It worked. I was very, very pleased with second place because I did not anticipate a good showing. So plus I don't know. I had fun.
Good.
I had fun racing with everybody.
Well,
So
since we already know the outcome of the teams, at least where the first position stands, let's go ahead and talk about it.
yep.
So, first position is Team Lexus with 49 points. So, well done to the entire Lexus team.
Yes.
Did a great job.
49 points. That's how you come out the gate.
That's a first ever. I believe it's the first ever that one team has taken 2 podiums in one race, is it not?
No, we've had first and thirds before in the same race.
Okay,
We've never had first and second in the same race.
that's true.
And
Okay.
this will be the first that we've got
First, second, and
three
third with
drivers in the, yeah, I
three
think.
drivers podiumed.
Yeah.
Fair to say.
Yeah.
So, so job well done. Second place is Team Toyota with 38 points.
hmm
And rounding out our top 3 is Ford with 33 points. which I actually was anticipating the Ford to be pretty dominant here. And they're in top three. They did well, but I was anticipating that Ford to really maximize its top speed there.
Yeah, I think we were all pretty much seeing the same. And then it really hit when the daily race dropped because our PD mole within Deviant Racing decided to set that up. But seeing the daily races and how that car was dominating, yeah, I thought the same thing. But Nismo hasn't really been at the front much. He is definitely quick. I mean, he was on pole, and then Zen getting used to the wheel a little bit. So I think he had a couple oopsies here and there, but overall, I mean, they still did well. They still got a solid car. That car is strong.
Yeah, I mean they did. They had a good showing. I mean, Team Ford took 3 and 4 in
Hmm.
GT3. So that's excellent,
Yeah, I
excellent
mean, in
work.
most cases, that would be huge points. Um, we just did a touch better. Sorry, guys. So, but they're going to be a contender. I mean, Nismo and Zen already being up at the top, like Dirksey has shown that it's not all about the wins; it's about the consistency in positions. And Dirksey took third last season
Hmm.
with minimal podiums, no wins, and just consistent driving. So, I mean, if the two of them can really hold out, um, there's no telling. I mean, they're going to be a solid little team there. So, and then the VW was in fourth, which I think we all kind of anticipated. The VW is just not a strong car for this track, but it's going to show itself when I get to some of the other ones. GP circuit, it's going to be strong.
It will be. It
And it was
definitely
strong
will.
in GT4, very surprisingly. Dirksey and Jar said that they were not anticipating the car to be as strong as it is. So, not to take anything away from Camzilla, who's still crushing it. So, it was good. It was good. Watching that race was fun. Watching Floody's commentary was fun for GT4, and him not being in it any longer and having the relationship like he's missing his fraternity brothers, watching them race around. So, but there were some good battles. I mean, they did well.
There was a lot of back and forth. I mean, it was a lot of drivers battling throughout the race. I mean, there was a lot of good battles there, and I
Hmm.
mean, it was fun to watch. And historically, to be fair and honest, the GT4, I watched the GT4 races because I streamed them, and so I kind of pay a lot of attention to them as I'm flipping camera views, which
Yeah.
if you watch the streams, but the GT4 to me seems like when you watch it back on the replays, it's always a little closer of a race. It's always a little more competitive here and there than the GT3 seems to be. GT3 settles in, seems a lot quicker, and things just kind of go as they go a lot sooner and smoother. Whereas in GT4 you get a lot more back and forth in battles and things, and so it's a little more exciting. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I will say in the GT3, the top nine drivers were within 15 seconds of the leader.
Hmm.
And the other cool little thing is the poll for GT3 was the top three manufacturers, both cars making it. So both Ford GTs, both Supras, and both Genesis were in the top seven of the poll.
Interesting.
On the grid. Yeah. And then there was some random Lexus thrown in there, weirdly.
Huh. Interesting.
hmm So you still confident in the car you guys chose?
Yeah, the AMG, yeah. The
Yeah.
AMG I do like. My race, uh,
What
you
were
know.
your car selection order? How did you have it laid out?
Well, we had in our top four, we had the Alpha, we had
Hmm.
the AMG, I believe we had the Corvette and we had there was a fourth one. Trying to remember the
Super.
fourth one. Well, no, it was a Super instead. We knew the Super was going to go. I mean,
Yeah.
it was we knew by the time it got to us, so it wasn't going to be there. We really assumed the AMG would go before it got to us. We didn't really think that would stick around. We were kind of thinking it was going to be the Alpha that we were gonna go with, but the AMG is a good car. It's one that, I do like it. It's just its downside is fuel consumption. That's no big surprise. I mean, it's a big V8. It's thirsty.
It
Uh,
is thirsty. It still launches off the line.
it does.
Watching your stream, like you still are almost guaranteed two positions every single race.
Mhm.
And we're opponents now. We're not on the same team. So I told my team, I was like, look, well, I told Chaotica essentially, watch out for the AMG guys. Make sure you know where they are because they're going to come up on your butt. So cover one side or the other and hold it. But yeah, that car launches like crazy.
It does. And I know that going into it. So immediately, instinctively coming off the line, I
Yeah.
literally get around as quick as I can because I know I've pretty much got anybody off the
So
line.
you got around Boost quick, who's in the same car. So I don't know if he just messed up the start or I don't know what happened, but you got around him quick. He started like almost everybody else, and you just launched off the line. So that
Yeah,
was crazy. So yeah, the Lexus was our second pick. Super was going to be our first. Obviously, the same thing. We didn't think it'd get to us by any means, but for us, it was Super, Lexus, AMG, Genesis, then the Corvette was for us. So, and I mean, I
Corvettes.
like the Lexus. It's taken some getting used to. I'll say that. I raced in some of the daily races with it, even though I was getting destroyed. Any daily race I can, I just try to get in it just to get comfortable with being around people in that car because it's finicky. Even Chaotica after the race was like, dude, my right foot is hurting because just trying to modulate the throttle just so it would not slip. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. I don't know how guys run no TC. I don't get it. I would be all over the freaking place doing that. I just don't have the consistency for it. So,
It's not always
um,
faster. Sometimes it
yeah.
is, but
Did you
one
guys
mistake.
do more towards the team building during the draft, or did you guys do more towards, get high quick picks and then to the car, or do you know? I mean, I know Boost is your
We
captain, so
yeah. I'll let Boost talk about his strategy if we have him on, if he wants to join
yeah.
us one time. But we built a solid team, and
Mhm.
we had a solid car pick. It was when we did the draft pick with Bad Rock. We were talking about it. We kind of expected car picks to be one of those things that somebody would start to grab kind of early, get those early car picks, but they
Yeah.
really didn't go at all. It was
Well,
always
one went first round.
it did
Yeah.
one, yeah,
Hmm.
and so you
I think
know,
once the second car was picked, everyone kind of freaked out a little bit. They're like, "Ooh, I gotta get a car," and I kept on my strategy, which was team first. I was like, "Look, we can figure out the car. I want the drivers." You know.
yeah, I tend to kind of think that as well. I mean, if you've got a good solid team, then the cars will work themselves in. There's
Yeah.
not that much difference between them. There is better ones than others, but
Yeah, they all
um,
have their strengths for their tracks. And we've got a very balanced season with taking two of the high end BOP, two medium BOP, two low BOP, and then we've got the Viewers' Choice Awards to Red Bull Ring and drawing a blank. What's the last one? Red Bull
next
Ring.
to the last is at Road Atlanta.
That's what it was. Yeah, Road Atlanta and Red
We
Bull Ring.
wrap up at Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, I think that's fitting. That's a
Yep.
pretty solid track.
Yeah. I believe
You
the
need to
Red
work
Bull.
in the short track Red Bull Ring. We haven't raced that in season after season after season. We haven't touched that at all, the short track version of the Red Bull Ring. Not for what we're doing here, but Sunday Cup, Mazda, Endurance. Oh, we didn't talk about Endurance. We got some time. We good with this? You want to talk any more GT3, GT4?
No, I'm done with GT3 for right now. We'll
Oh,
pick that
come
up
on, don't
later.
be
Let's
like
talk
that.
about it.
Be like that.
No, let's talk about endurance.
GT3
So,
was good. Hold on. GT3, we got some new people in GT3. Boost came back. We brought Floody back. Glover's jumped back. So that was good. Nothing else. You just want to get away from GT3? How do you feel about GP circuit for Nürburgring? Do you like
hmm,
the track? It's a
I
technical
do.
track.
Yeah, it's German. I'm in a German car, so I mean, it should be good, right? I mean, isn't that
Just
how it
watch your
works?
fuel.
Yeah, but I mean, it should get better fuel at German. I mean, it should
Oh,
be.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that I'm sure that pans out. Stick to that strategy. Stick to it. Don't let them push you around. Just go with your gut, and you'll be fine. Yeah, even though there's BMW plastered all over the place. So
I know.
I don't remember what race we were doing. Me and Besso came down to the wire on that race. And then I'm sure at some point Vic's gonna remind me of when I T-boned him in the Sunday Cup, or one of those, right? No, it was the Porsche Cup. We were out there and I drove right into the side of his car. Not on purpose, but yeah, I did. I destroyed him and like two other cars. Like there was no stopping. That was when Christopher ran in the room and like jumped on my lap and I looked over. No, that's not what it was. My wife called me like multiple times. I got to get my story straight. Anyway, I T-boned Vic. Meh, whatever. He
You,
deserved
you know it's already popping up on the screen.
it. Probably so. Probably so. So endurance race.
Endurance race, yeah. Uh, wow.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah, there was some mixed feelings on that after at the end. And so it was interesting. It was the most adrenaline filled, action packed 3 hours of racing you could imagine. There was no dull moments. There
Hmm.
was no moments of basically relaxing.
Yeah.
I'm glad it
So
was a full straight and you could at least do that and keep in a straight line and relax somewhat in a pack of 9 cars every lap.
yeah, I will say this. Look, I don't like missing races. I could not physically do this race with my knee. I didn't want to do it on a controller. I was I just wasn't going to do it, right? So throw the stream up in the morning, whatever. It pops up and I see your wipers going. I was like, this is going to be great. I was so excited for just full strip, full slipstream, full boost,
Yep.
GR1 cars, Le Mans and rain. Like I was just like ecstatic. And then the rain went away. It got dry. That sucked. But I will say this, like obviously I didn't drive it, but the race content you guys had was freaking phenomenal. The the battles down the straight, the bump drafting, like when you're passing other cars like they're standing still and they're doing 200 miles an hour is just insane. Absolutely insane. And like the first lap in itself, you guys came into that last braking zone and it was just chaos, but you got through it. All of you got through it. Um, that was such a fun race to watch. I watched almost the entire thing. I got yelled at multiple times for not contributing around the house and all this other stuff because of 3 hour damn race. But that was a fun race to watch. I know it was painful for everybody. I know there was complaints about the heavy slipstream, and the reason we picked the heavy slipstream was why? Why did we pick it?
So in many of the polls, in many of the feedback, much of the feedback that we've gotten over the course of endurance racing, as well as other racing, is that, the downside, especially to the endurance races, is that drivers felt like over the course of 3 hours, you ended up by yourself and basically
Hmm.
turning laps and you didn't see anybody.
Yeah.
This was a track that we kind of thought that was okay. This is a big track. It's a long
Yep.
race. This will keep it together and competitive, but it should allow spread out. A bit miscalculated that a little bit, but it did such a good job of bringing everybody together that everybody just ended up like you were glued to each other the entire 3 hours,
It was so
and
awesome.
it was
It was
I
so
know it
awesome.
was great to watch.
Dude, it was.
Um,
It
it
really
was
was.
it was a lot of fun from my perspective. Didn't have the greatest of finishes, but it is
Well,
what it is.
yeah, but I mean, mathematically, you didn't need a over the top finish anyway. So, I mean, congrats to first place
Thank
overall
you.
championship of our
Thank you.
first endurance series. It took a full year for three races. But again, I mean, it it shows to the mental resilience of some of our drivers. You know, Thrasher sometimes struggles in some of the GT3 races. You know, we've heard him audibly kind of explaining that, but you get him in some of these tough tracks for some reason, uh, full Nürburgring or these endurance races, and he really just excels. It's again, I was so excited to when I tallied those points up and saw his name on there. I was over the moon for that kid. Like I was so happy for him because he's grinded every single weekend and he deserves it. So seeing you up top, seeing him up there as well, that was good. That
Yeah, he
that
was 10.
definitely.
He was, here's the leaderboard. We'll go ahead and throw it up there.
Yeah.
This is the Deviant Endurance leaderboard. This is all complete season one, we'll call it. We don't have an official name for it, but it's, I guess, season one now. So he was 10 points behind me. I had 40. He had 30. You took third, tied with 30. So
Mhm.
tied for third, second, whatever, however you want to look at that. We'll give you third because
Well, no, he gets second because he the
he competed in all three.
tiebreaker. He did all three exactly.
He did all
Yeah.
three.
So
So yeah, and consistent as hell, Thrasher. 10, 10,
10, 10,
10,
10.
10, 10, 10. He earned the 30 as
Yep.
consistent as you can be. So
Hmm.
well done.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, he did a stand-up job, man. So I was happy for both of you. You know, again, I like the competition, but I like seeing different drivers up towards the front, making a name for themselves, getting better. That's why, it's always good to see some of our guys just moving up through the leaderboards. Anatole has gotten more consistent. And, I remember when he first started, it was like, stay away from me.
mhm.
Like, don't get too close. I've got lag and we had incident reports, but he's gotten cleaner. He's more confident in what he's doing. And so again, so many of these guys, Preston, the same thing, Bad Rock, the same thing. Like a lot of these guys are moving up and doing well. So it's been good.
And for a lot of the new guys to the league, as you kind of look around, you're noticing and just kind of point out, we have different
What
leagues,
what new
different
guy?
races. I'm sorry?
What new guys do we have?
Well, just newer guys. I mean, we don't
Newer.
nobody
Yeah.
brand new, but
Yeah. Yeah.
as they're noticing, what we have is different types of races. We have the endurance races. That's totally different from the GT races, which is totally different from Sunday Cup. And then we
Yep.
have the Mazda League, which is constantly there's going to be a new theme for that coming, which we'll refrain from talking about right now, but
You don't
it
want to bring it,
there's
you don't want to say it?
no, I think we wait. I think we let
Yeah.
them do it. And
Okay.
so there's different things and each one takes this different focal point. Each one is a different type of thing. For the endurance league, it's it really reiterates you don't win this thing on the first lap. I took out to a very early lead in endurance, and I couldn't maintain it because of the settings, obviously. But that's what you do in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of that race is completely irrelevant to the end. Um, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you have to approach it
And I
totally
mean,
different.
to that point, I think a lot of guys are really starting to see that now, as opposed to where we were just last season or season prior. Like turn one of Daytona has always been bumper cars every single time. Spa, first turn, bumper cars. But I mean, I brought it up during our little pre-meeting during our race, but everyone got to a position, like everyone started off the line, got into position, and then they stayed there. They stayed behind the car that was in front of them. And again, because like you said, it's even though it's an hour-long race, it's still an endurance.
Hmm.
And picking up that last position on a quick little dive bomb or outbraking someone on the first turn is not worth it any longer. Like you can really make up more time staying behind somebody.
Yeah,
You know, Glavis hit me up with some questions this week on private messaging, and that was one of the things I told him was like sometimes it's smarter to stay behind somebody because when you battle, you both slow down. The whole
you
group
do.
slows down. So sometimes it's smarter to just stay behind the car that's in front of you, and that's it. Stay consistent, keep moving, and then your time will come. Either they'll feel the pressure and mess up and you get by, and it's an easy get by, you lose very little time. But if you battle every turn, you are going to consistently drop down. So it's I
Agreed.
commend everybody for a clean Daytona race. You know, there was bumps and bruises here and there, but for the most part, everyone really did just kind of fall in line. They were respectful. So it was good to see, you know.
There weren't a lot of questions with safety car, so
No, there wasn't.
that
No,
was clean.
Preston did a phenomenal job.
Yes,
Chaotica always does when it comes to safety car.
well
You know,
done.
I've got our winners up here. I got this one's Vic, you know, in his
Oh,
Supra.
look, I like his little spoiler. Look at
Yeah,
that.
it's got a little spoiler. And then
Yep.
this one's Nismo, you know. I didn't draw my car because we're Team Tool, Team Junk. So congrats to those guys.
Congrats, guys. He had some portraits done for you. He'll be sure to put them in the mail so you can be having them framed.
Yeah, I'll sign them. You know what I mean? So just there we go. Signed. Done. Get that out of here. No, I'm
Uh,
excited for the new season, man. I am. It's gonna be a long season, but it's gonna be fun.
and with that, that pretty much is going to conclude this episode. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks after GT. So we'll be talking about that, and of course, make sure that if you're signed up, you join us for Sunday Cup, which is this weekend.
Hmm.
Which should be a lot of fun. We go back to Daytona for a little bit of different type of racing, but that's a different
What's
discussion for a different
uh
day.
what's the what's the track list for this weekend in car?
Track list for this weekend
Yeah, just
is
real quick, because I,
it's
I
yes,
can't remember.
it's so for this weekend the car that we're using is the Mustang, the Mustang GT. What do they call
Oh,
it?
is this the
GT3.
NASCAR crap you guys are doing?
It's NASCAR. It's not crap. It is NASCAR. It's a well-developed league done by one of our admins that designed this. So
Is he gonna show up? I say if he doesn't show up, you cancel the whole thing.
no, we're not canceling. I didn't get to participate in this last time, so no, we're not gonna cancel it. We're gonna go through with it.
Gosh,
But it is NASCAR,
I have
and
nightmares of Chaotica's bumper for 20 minutes.
well, yeah. So the first race is going to be at Northern Isle Speedway. Then the second one is at
What?
Blue. Blue it's a Blue Moon. Blue Moon is the second race, Blue Moon Speedway, and then the third one is Daytona Trioval.
Okay.
Fuel usage is off.
Yeah, for your sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dirksey also has nightmares of Daytona.
Is he?
I'll let him explain that one. Him
Yeah.
and Zen.
Pop down in the comments, Dirksy, and tell us about your nightmares.
All
Maybe we can be of some help or
right.
hindrance.
Yes. So moving on. Thank you guys. Appreciate everything. Look forward to getting them back out there again. You guys have fun at the Sunday Cup, driving in your little circles, left, 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 left. Make sure you recap. Besto's going to need the rules, kind of spoken to him. He's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
used to the NASCAR stuff.
What's left in Spanish?
Yeah, right. That I don't know. I know green. That's all I know. Verde, verde,
Very,
verde.
very,
So,
very.
and roja or rojo. I don't know. It's all masculine, feminine. I don't know. So, all right. I'm good.
All
Good
right,
night.
guys. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye.